Waitress kicked out her 2 daughters and wanted a son, 14. Years later, this happened in a small diner in Charleston. The afternoon sun glows softly on a woman haunted by her past. 14 years ago, Linda Graves threw out her 2 daughters, chasing a dream of having a son. But today, as laughter fills the diner, she looks up and freezes. Standing before her is a young woman with the same brown eyes she thought she'd never see again. Her hands shake. Her heart stops, because fate has finally brought back the daughter she abandoned. And with her comes a truth that will shatter everything. 14 years earlier, Linda lived in a small 2-bedroom house near the Lakeview Avenue. Her husband, Francis, always wanted a boy to carry on the family name. After 2 daughters, he changed, cold, distant, disappointed. Linda, desperate to save her marriage, began believing the cruel words he whispered, "Girls can't build a legacy." She worked double shifts, prayed for a son, and when that prayer never came, bitterness filled her home. One rainy afternoon, she made the worst mistake of her life. She told her 2 little girls to go live with their aunt. They stood by the doorway, holding old backpacks and crying, but Linda's pride kept her silent. Frank left her anyway a year later. Her daughters stopped calling, and all she had left was regret. Deep, quiet, endless regret. Back in the present, Linda forced a smile as the young volunteers took their seats. One of them, the girl with familiar eyes, walked up and said softly, "Ma'am, do you still serve peach pie?" Linda's hands trembled. She nodded, whispering, "Every day." As she turned to slice the pie, her eyes blurred with tears. The girl looked at her name tag, Linda Graves, and froze too. Her friend whispered, "Why do you look like you've seen a ghost?" The girl replied quietly, "Because that woman is my mother." Linda nearly dropped the plate as she overheard. The diner went silent. Time itself seemed to stop. After 14 years, mother and daughter stood face to face, both unsure how to speak first. The clinking of plates and the hum of the coffee machine filled the diner. Yet for Linda, everything went silent. Her hand shook as she wiped the counter, pretending not to notice the girl watching her from the corner booth. Something in those eyes, a spark, a shadow of the past she had buried for 14 long years. Linda tried to stay composed. "What can I get you, sweetheart?" she asked, forcing a smile. The girl's lips curved slightly. "Do you still serve peach pie?" That question hit like a storm. Peach pie, her daughter's favorite. She hadn't baked it for years, not since the day they left. Linda turned to the display case, her throat tightening. "Every day," she whispered, voice trembling. As she cut a slice, her vision blurred. The knife almost slipped. She placed the plate on the counter, afraid to look up. When she finally met the girl's gaze again, her heart skipped. Those weren't just any eyes, they were Hannah's. Older now, stronger but unmistakable. Linda stepped back, her voice breaking. "No, it can't be." But before she could speak again, Hannah stood and said, "It's been a long time, Mom." The diner went dead silent. Even the radio seemed to hush. Linda froze. Every apology, every sleepless night crashed back all at once. She whispered, "Hannah, how did you find me?" Hannah's face softened, but her tone stayed calm. "I wasn't looking for you. I was looking for the woman who left us." Linda's knees weakened. She grabbed the counter for support. Then came the first twist. Hannah pulled out a small envelope and placed it on the table. Inside was a faded photograph, Linda, Hannah, and her younger sister, Grace, smiling outside their old house. On the back, written in a child's handwriting, "Sunday, we'll come back home." Linda's eyes flooded with tears. She remembered that day, the last day before she sent them away. Hannah continued, "Grace didn't make it, Mom." Linda's heart stopped. What do you mean?" "She got sick 2 years after we left. Aunt Marlene couldn't afford treatment. I really tried." Linda collapsed into a chair, her world spinning. Her past had come not only to remind her, but to punish her. But then Hannah said something Linda didn't expect. "I didn't come here for revenge." Linda looked up, broken. "Then why?" Hannah's eyes glistened. "Because you were once a good mother, before everything fell apart." Linda shook her head. "No, Hannah, I was weak. I let your father poison my heart." Hannah replied softly, "Maybe, But pain changes people, and forgiveness changes them back. Before Linda could respond, the diner door swung open. A tall man entered, wearing a charity badge that read Hope for Women Foundation. He walked straight to Hannah and said, "We're ready for your speech outside." Linda blinked. Speech. Hannah smiled faintly. "Yes, Mom. I'm the founder of the foundation. We help single mothers rebuild their lives." The second twist hit harder than the first. Her abandoned daughter had become a savior for women like her. Linda whispered, You built all this?" Hannah nodded. "From the pain you gave me." Then she added, "But I also came here to offer you a job." Linda gasped. "A job?" Hannah smiled sadly. "We're opening a new shelter near this town. I want you to run the diner for the mothers who need work." Linda's tears fell freely now. "After what I did to you, you'd still trust me?" Hannah looked her in the eyes. "You're still my mother, and I learned mercy from the one who needed it most." As they talked, Linda noticed something strange, a small scar on Hannah's wrist. She reached out, gently touching it. "What happened?" Hannah hesitated, then whispered, "I tried to take my life once. When Grace died, Linda's heart shattered." "Oh my God, Hannah." But Hannah continued, "That's when I realized I could either die with my pain or help others heal from theirs." Linda covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. The customers sat frozen, feeling the weight of every word. One old man whispered, "That's her daughter?" And another said softly, "She's forgiving her." Hannah walked around the counter and hugged her mother, tightly, like she'd been waiting a lifetime. Linda broke down, whispering through her tears, "I don't deserve this love." Hannah held her closer and said, "Then start deserving it now." The afternoon sun poured through the diner window, washing them in golden light. But the twists weren't over. Hannah reached into her bag and pulled out another photo, Grace's old picture. "She wanted me to give this to you." She wrote something before she died. Linda's hands trembled as she unfolded the note. It read, "Tell Mom I forgive her, because love should never end where pain begins." Linda clutched the paper to her chest, crying, "I failed you both." Hannah whispered, "No, Mom, you fell, and now you're rising." The entire diner erupted in quiet tears, strangers moved by a family reborn. As the clock struck 3, Hannah stood and said, "Come outside. There's someone I want you to meet." Linda followed her, still trembling. Outside, a small group of women stood holding flowers. Dultines and Situtesiston, all single mothers the foundation, had helped. They clapped when they saw Linda, not knowing her past, only the heart they saw now. Hannah handed her a bouquet and said, "Welcome home, Mom." Linda couldn't speak. She just held her daughter's hand and looked at the sky. The same sky she once cried under, begging for a son, now blessing her with a second chance. Her story had come full circle. The woman who once pushed love away now found herself surrounded by it. And that afternoon, in the warmth of the sun and the hum of hope, Linda Graves finally forgave herself. The late afternoon sun turned the streets of Charleston golden, wrapping the diner in soft light as if heaven itself had leaned closer to watch. Linda stood quietly beside Hannah, her hands trembling, heart heavy yet strangely light for the first time in years. The applause from the women outside slowly faded into the hum of traffic and wind. For a long time, neither mother nor daughter spoke. The silence between them said everything words could not. Then Hannah whispered, "Grace always believed you'd change one day." She was right. Linda's eyes glistened as she clutched the photo of Grace close to her chest. "I'd give anything to tell her I'm sorry," she murmured. Hannah smiled faintly, her voice breaking. "You just did. Mom, she's hearing you, maybe not here, but somewhere higher." The sky seemed to glow brighter for a moment, like a sign. A soft breeze passed through, carrying the scent of peach pie from the diner behind them. Then out of nowhere, a small boy ran toward them, maybe 7 years old, barefoot, holding a flyer. He handed it to Linda and said, "Miss, I'm hungry. My mom told me to find someone named Linda at the diner." Linda bent down, shocked. "Sweetheart, where's your mom?" He pointed to a woman across the street, frail, tired, holding a baby in her arms. Hannah's eyes widened. "That's one of the women from our shelter." The boy smiled. "She said you help moms who have no one." Linda looked at Hannah, her heart trembling. "Did you send them?" Hannah shook her head softly. "No, Mom. Maybe Grace did." That moment became their third twist, the feeling that Grace's spirit was guiding them. Linda took the boy's hand and said warmly, "Tell your mom dinner's on me." For the first time in years, she felt purpose burn inside her heart again. They walked back into the diner together, the bell above the door chiming softly. Linda tied her apron, wiped her eyes and whispered, "I'm ready." Hannah sat by the counter, watching her mother serve food to strangers with a smile she hadn't seen since childhood. Every gesture, every word carried the weight of redemption. Customers noticed, too, kindness had returned to the old diner. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Hannah placed an envelope on the table. Linda frowned. "What's this?" Hannah said softly, "A second chance." Inside was a check, enough money to buy the diner and turn it into a community cafe for single mothers. Linda gasped, "Hannah, I can't take this." But before she could finish, Hannah interrupted, "You're not taking it. Mom, you're earning it. Every day you help someone." Tears streamed down Linda's face as she whispered, "I don't deserve this kind of grace." Hannah smiled, "Then give it to others. That's how you'll keep it." The two women held hands, surrounded by the warmth of flickering neon lights and coffee steam. A new story was beginning, one built not on regret but redemption. As night fell, the diner filled with laughter from families, women and children who once had nothing. Linda walked from table to table, smiling like a woman reborn. She saw in every child's eyes the reflection of the daughters she lost, and the one she got back. Then came the final twist. The boy from earlier ran up again, holding a folded paper. "My mom wanted you to have this," he said shyly. Linda unfolded it. Inside was a drawing of three women holding hands under a bright sun. Written in crayon, "Thank you for being the mother we never had." Her lips trembled, tears falling freely. She looked at Hannah and whispered, "Do you see this? Grace's dream lives through them." Hannah nodded, smiling through tears. "Maybe this was always her plan, Mom." The bell on the door rang again. Another woman entered, holding an old locket. She walked straight to Linda and said, "Someone left this for you at the shelter." Linda opened it and froze. Inside was a tiny picture of Grace, and the words engraved, "Forgive to be free." Her knees weakened. Hannah held her steady. "Mom," Hannah said softly, "she's home now. And so are you." Linda looked around the diner, the laughter, the kindness, the second chances blooming in every corner. The woman who once threw away love had now built a place that gave it back to the world. She whispered under her breath, "I asked for a son, but God gave me something greater, a purpose." Hannah hugged her tightly as the sign outside flickered to life. "Man Grace Cafe, where every mother gets a new beginning." And as the moon rose over the small town, Linda finally smiled, not out of pride but peace. She realized that life's cruelest chapters often lead to its most beautiful endings. The daughter she once lost had become her savior. The love she buried had bloomed again, stronger, purer, eternal. And that night, the woman who once wanted a son became a mother to hundreds of daughters.